Anand, and hello to anybody watching. Time to be a tiny bit awkward, for this game has no soundtrack, so we're listening to RuneScape because, well, RuneScape's soundtrack is freaking free to listen to. Yay! RuneScape Night Road! I had a great nap today. I was far too tired to stream, so at 11 p.m. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a nap, and then I woke up, and it took a while to get myself back awake, but still a nice 90-minute nap. So I feel a lot more alive right now than I would have if I didn't do this. I just let myself handle for atmosphere's sake. I like me atmosphere a lot. So anyways, this game is kinda just starts like that. So I suppose we start from beginning. Getting ready to pass a diesel Mercedes when the shifter goes all loose. You jiggle the stick and pump the clutch, but it's like holding a dead man's hand. That is a unpleasant image in my head right now. Your old Honda drifts off the highway in a cloud of sand and grit. A moment later, the engine stalls. You pop the hood and fumble about in the back for a flashlight. Then you realize that it's getting light out. You can feel that this poor car, your companion for 10 lonely years, is finished. You're still out here when the desert sun rises, so are you. Okay, so we are dead. We know when the sun rises, we don't know what the current time is. And we're overly concerned about a car. Got it. Cars fall apart. So do people. So do phones. You put out your old iPhone and check the time. The cracked screen. 6:05 a.m. Unlike your poor Honda or the tattered air freshener hanging from your mirror, which used to hide the smell of dried blood, you'll last forever if you can find somewhere to hide before 6:41 a.m. You've been making these courier runs for 10 years, each year making less than the last, hiding in trunks and storage units during the day, racing down the desert highways at night with messages and parcels on your passenger's seat. It's been boring. It felt like getting all trapped in this body that can never age. Well, you're not bored now. You're even breathing again. Short, frightened little breaths as you watch the sky lighten in the east. Nerves you thought extinguished years ago fire up again, making your hands shake. You feel almost alive as you check under the hood. The cable clutch is fucked. No surprise there. Maintenance hasn't been a possibility, let alone a priority. And when you look at the engine, you realize the problems run deeper than one busted cable. You've been ignoring the warning signs, like an old man who keeps coughing and won't go to the doctor, and the engine looks like you're going to look in exactly. You check your phone again, 16 minutes. Maybe there's still time. You look around at the dusty highway, the wasteland that stretches out in the black horizon in every direction, and try to recall your mortal life. Something you've learned when you still drew breath must have the power to save you here. Well, dude, have you considered just like digging a hole underneath the car? I mean, you always run the problem of somebody might move the car, but... you can go to baby route and turn off the stat check indicator. Okay, I grew up poor, working on cars. Let's see if I can get this engine running for a few more minutes. Oof. For a few more minutes, would you like park it somewhere shady? I had lots of mortal friends and I've kept in touch with some. They might have a good idea if I call one, or at least they can pull up a map on their phones and tell me which way to run. Ah, friends! Haha! Totally had friends. Served in the military. In addition to my combat training, I know how to hide and survive in the desert. Was there like a guidebook on dig yourself a pit mate if you are dead and need to hide from the sun, because I think that's your options. Got a good education. I haven't let my knowledge stagnate now that I'm dead. I use my phone and some maps to figure out where to go. You know, I am completely fucking useless with maps, but that is about as close as we're gonna get to stuff. Lots of maps in the glove department, and through your data connection. Ah, I am so connected to data. Out here is terrible. You don't use GPS because you don't want to be tracked. You just need to see the maps. From then you might be able to cobble together a picture of where you are and figure out which way to run in your life. In my life, I was a total loser. Okay, proceeding. I know how to make a hypersigil. Does that count for anything? I mean, I don't think so, no. Because I like flashing this thing. Because I like flashing this thing. There you go. I can make amazing. I can make magic art. Arts and crafts to save my life, please. Don't think that's gonna be an option right now, but still. I tried to get through community college with the help of the army reserve. I ran out of money, but at least I learned to shoot. Oof. That's, I was supposed to study ecology in the Everglades, but I spent 2 years just wading through swamps, racking up debt before I gave up. I pursued a criminology degree, paying my way by chasing down bail skippers until I ran out of money. Studied computer science, dropped out, and discovered how good I was at computer crime. Jesus, I wish I was this. Nope, I completed my computer science degree and I was never good at computer crime. Because, you know, yeah. Look around in the glove compartment, finding only a few maps and an expired Cliff Bar to give you the appearance of life. Then you check under the seat. A broken folding knife, a Michigan ID of someone who looks sort of like you, some ninja rocks for breaking car windows, a rusty Leatherman. Worthless, but if there's one thing you learned getting in trouble as a kid, it was when to walk away. The situation is fucked and your car is now a death trap. Rather than wait to burn, you grab the satchel with your deliveries and head away from the highway looking for anything that might save you from destruction. An old mine shaft, an abandoned shack, anything. The stars to the east are gone, replaced by blue-purple haze. It's 6:30 a.m. You remember the last time you saw the sun? You were so focused in those days. Life was so clear, you knew where you're gonna become, and then you were out of college and looking for jobs, spending all day on your laptop or making calls. You had a job at the call center, another job at the Olive Garden, and you did some design work, but you were drowning in debt, desperate to put all your education to work. You remember your last day well. You drove to your call center job, found it boarded up and a bunch of confused assholes just like you standing around outside, not knowing what to do. It was around 6, so you watched the sunset illuminate the grimly row rises and the cash for gold signs before shugging and getting back in your car. It wouldn't start, so you got out and started wandering around with your phone up looking for a signal, and then when a shadow detached itself from beneath your car, when you rose again, burning with hunger and sticky with your own blood, your killer did not call you kindred or Cainite or vampire. First you learned about your clan, your lineage, a bloodline that existed since before history. Before all cities except one. Your killer said you belonged to... Wait, were we observing the sunset or the sunrise? Words. I need... Sunset! Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Aw, somebody was hiding behind my car. That's interesting. I also like how it goes, oh, requires some in-app purchases, but... Game, You're in Steam. There's no such thing as in-app in here. You know what? Sure. Gonna play as the Gangrel boys. Gangrel boys. Though actually, kind of vibe with Banu Hakim as well, but yeah, let's go simple. Let's go simple. The people that can ghoul animals. I mean, everybody can kind of ghoul animals if they want to, but most of the time people don't. So, well, they can ghoul animals. The savage outlanders are shape-shifting beastmasters who almost alone among vampires can survive outside of the cities. Disciplines. Yep, animalism, fortitude, protein, gangrel flesh is both hardy and able to change its form. The outlanders also have various powers over living animals. On weakness, feral gangrel struggle to relate to normal humans, especially as their humanity declines. Yes, I am good with this. I'm good with this. We're an animal boy. An animal boy. Actually, maybe we're a girl. I don't know why I'm making assumptions. Either way, we're wild at heart. By the time your sire found you, she had already begun her great metamorphosis. But on that night, she could still pass for a human beneath her hat and trench coat. She came to the city rarely, but something about you had attracted her. She embraced you and dragged you away to an abandoned research facility to the outskirts of Tuscan to join her litter of ghoul whelps. You still remember the whelps? They were half-mad, half-starved men and women who maintained an eternal twilight half-life by sucking on your sire's blood. Ghouls, you know now, are the favorite servants of vampires. Humans given vampire blood while they were still alive gain ageless and little power in exchange for much of their free will. At this point, might be selling your soul might be a better option. Removes far less of you. You were greater than they, a true vampire, and they hated you for it. How did you survive those nights? Oh boy, when your master has ghouls that you need to survive in particular, that's a choice. That's a choice. I endured the risk of fire and electrocution. Why? You know what? Yeah, sure, let's have a nice relationship with my sire and nothing to do with her ghouls. Like, what the fuck, game? Why am I trying to survive my sire's ghouls? What kind of place is this? I need to know. Where am I? Yeah, I was my sire's courier before I went independent. My wolf companion and I traveled to Tuscan, uncovering strange artifacts she demanded we find. Your sire never trusted you. She's a weird person, I mean... Jumps from a car! Embraces a complete random stranger for the lulz! Has a freaking research facility with half-mad ghouls! But you needed your quick and independent thinking. I feel like this is like one of them ads that you put on your CV that mean absolutely nothing. I am great at stressful situations. No, actually, I am really not. Oh. Okay, that's fun. If I blow my... The blue lights off my candle. Ooh. Oh god. That's fairly... Lessons in light. with Myrta. How does light even work, yo? Okay. Yeah, quick and independent thinking, and I'm great at stressful situations. Yep, yes sirree, and I love to keep myself active, and I am a great worker, babe. Something her spawn lacked. How much spawn she had? She needed other things too. Rare animals, taxidermy specimens, certain rare types of human blood. You procured them all, crisscrossing Arizona in an old Jeep. It was just you and the strange wolf that appeared one day in your dreams, and then the next night while you were awake. Yeah, that's not weird at all. You don't know where the wolf came from, how it got into the middle of Flagstaff, which is where you met, but you knew what you had to do. You fed the Lobo your blood as your sire fed her ghouls, and the beast was yours. The wolf was... It was a wolf, the heck. It was... Unless it's an allegory for me, Jesus Christ, the wolf is just a wolf. Fair enough. Your wolf was a terrifying specimen, but unlike your sire's whelps, whoa, RuneScape's music, oh, we're getting somewhere now. You could speak and think and had enough sense to find a collar for them so people would mistake them for a dog. Then perhaps to remind yourself of what you had lost, you gave your wolf a name. You named them... Yeah, let's be all like Dark Knighty and emo-y and then name the wolf Shadow, why not? Your sire never trusted Shadow, but you did with your life! And they repaid that trust one night when you were returning to your sire's haven. They howled, snapped, and finally bit your hand, forcing you to pull off onto the side street. That's when the weird wind shifted and you smelled the smoke. You and Shadow approached on foot and watched vampire hunters dragging her blood whelps out of your sire's haven. You never saw your sire again. You fled into the desert, only returning when the old prince of Tuscon was destroyed in a coup, and you were able to drift back into the town unquestioned. You carefully asked questions, but no one knew anything about your sire. No one had even heard about the Gangrel who called herself Lampago and sought apotheosis in the ruins of the decaying research facility. And after all that, 10 years on these miserable desert highways, scrapping by on the charity of your elders as you run their errands, you lost your edge, the clarity of your focus, sacrificing specialization in order to learn trick after trick, in order to survive from night to night. If you were still alive, you would be middle-aged. The elders of kindred are lies wrapped in flesh, and death is no promise of immortality. You've seen 100 Canaanites born into the night only to die a few months later at the hands of hunters or their own kind, just because they didn't know what time it was. Strange that you're going to die young. The air ripples, it smells like burning metal. You never should have bought a hatchback. What is a hatchback? And Jesus music, you are intense. Thank you. Malice unleashed, huh? Oh, Malice was definitely unleashed tonight. If you were alive, you would be middle-aged, coupled with... You were alive for the past 10 years. I suppose it didn't tell us how long we were alive before our sire kicked the bucket, but we're a 10-year-old vampire and we were embraced at 40. Interesting. We were in a deadbeat job at 40. Happens, I suppose. That's life. Shadow bolts past you and vanishes over a low hill. Then they start to howl and yip. Oh, magic dog. If you can't get a magic girl, always bring your magic dog with you. Knowing the Lobo might be your only chance, you follow their house until you're looking at the ruins of an old filing station. Shelter! Though the station looks abandoned, you see footprints in the sand. The golden eagle sits on the stripped diesel dispenser. Shadow growls and the eagle puffs up, but this is no mere territorial dispute among wild animals. You can feel the vitae in the golden eagle. It is a fabulous, a servant of the blood like your logo. You approach the main building looking for a way in. The windows and doors are all boarded up, and though there's a garage door for a loading dock, it seems locked. The eagle spreads its wings and screams. You don't have time for this. The sun will kill you, but first it will drive you mad. You can feel the beast rising in you. The beast, the untamed monster that lurks inside every vampire that drives you to acts of depravity and violence. You're losing control, you need to act now, but that famulus seems almost to have been put here to guard this place. The talons flex. I would totally protein in this situation, honestly. I don't just command beasts, I can become one. I grow claws, walk past the eagle, and slash open the boards over the window. Single thunderous heartbeat drives vitae into your hands. Ooh. So that's how it works, huh? And your nails harden in length, becoming heavy red-black claws, sharp as razors. The famulus takes a look at those dreadful weapons and flies away with an alarmed screech. It's like, Master! Master! The person who approached your haven grew a claw! These shits be scary. Poor terrified eagle. Two vicious sweeps of your claws rip away the boards over the window. As smoke starts to escape from your clothes, you wiggle inside. Then crawl kick away from the hole. Shadow wiggles their way inside a moment later, their coat gleaming in the light of sunrise. A wave of exhaustion hits you as the sun rises fully. The kindred were not meant to remain awake during daylight hours, and you look around for anywhere safe you might rest. Hey, you're inside and sun's not shining on you, that's good enough. You're in a small sealed back office crowded with dusty furniture. An old tarp covers a chair. You grab the tarp and use it to walk a rusted filing cabinet in front of the open window, blocking the sunlight. You check the door, it's unlocked and opens onto a long deserted convenience store. Shafts of sunlight cut through the room from gaps in the wooden boards, so you quickly close the door. You're like, nope! This... Hey, take the setting and like cut out the vampires and congratulations, you got yourself a zombie apocalypse and you're just a poor survivor just scouring the abandoned stores. Let's see. You're trapped in this little office, but you can't worry about that now. You huddle in the corner behind the little desk, so as far as you can position yourself from the window. Then you mentally inventory all the things you do need to worry about. Your ruined car, the ache of hunger in your gums, the smell of fresh blood somewhere in this building, the strange famulus. You may not survive another night, but you survived this one. You survived the warm black pit where your sire nursed her ghoul spawn. You survived the hunters that came for her, and you survived out here in the desert for years, one night at a time. You permit yourself a tight little smile. You can still make it, you can still find a way out of this, and then the blackness of the day sleep swallows you. Numb! Numb! I hate it when the night numbs you whole and then you're no longer conscious. It's to be a lot how nights function, really. I actually look so alive today, that's nice. I didn't a couple of hours ago. Candle, are you giving me a healthy human glow? No, it's not you. Not you. Must be the magic of the game. Ah, Night Road, you're giving me life. Giving me life. Ah, Chapter 2, Into the Sunset. If anyone had found you the day crumpled behind the desk, he would have seen only a disheveled corpse, and while the sun is in the sky, that's all you were. The blood you got back in... El Paso before you hopped in your Honda awakens the moment the sun sets. The return to consciousness is instantaneous and agonizing. You open your eyes in shadow and wait for your eyes to adjust. Your limbs are still heavy as if crushed by the weight of the sun. As you wait, you think about the Camarilla and you remember what the elders made you do to prove that you were more than just some clanless scavenger. Oh. Elders playing sad games and us sadly reminiscing in the middle of them. Alrighty then. A Pirate's Life for me is currently playing. Doubly alrighty then. You were desperate then, and you know you had to obey. It paired you with another desperate young Canaanite, a charming young man named Julian Sim, who talked too much. He was something that other kindred called an Asamite, and back then you didn't know if that was another clan like the Gangrel or another sect like the Camarilla. No one ever bothered to tell you. Julian had the eager energy of a congressional page and the glistening patient eyes of a reptile. He was out for himself, and so were you, and that gave you something in common. You remember Julian's lime green geo-tracker crunching to a halt over gravel. You jumped out and felt the sand beneath your feet. Still hot hours after sunset, though the night air felt cool. Julian was well dressed despite the rough work, but back then you always wore the same thing when you were out in the desert. Coveralls with the name you used soon on a patch. Isn't that... I'm sorry, isn't that a bit on the nose? I assume we adapted a name that wasn't their own. I'm just gonna take an anti-allergy pill because my nose is acting up and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I sometimes get these like really weirdness, allergic reaction fits that come out of nowhere for no reason and never go away. Not your real name, of course. That person died in a strip mall parking lot. That's smart. You still call yourself... Fucking Jesus, this is a list of very obnoxious ways of calling yourself. You know what? I'm gonna enter my own thing. Fun fact. By Jewish geometria, which is not really meant for English words, by the way. My real name shares the exact same numbers as Babylon. So I kinda identify with that disaster, and it's a lot nicer than the actual religious connotations that my real name actually does carry. Especially considering that it's a biblical name meant for boys, but the female version, which kinda diminishes it even more. It's like your name carries a biblical meaning. Has a boy's name, so we kinda just tacked on a name there, and now it's a girl's name. Enjoy. So, yeah, but the fact that it shares the same numbers as Babylon, and I vibe with that. So, hey, I was a gangrel living in the desert. Yep, my name is Babylon. Those old coveralls let you pass as maintenance worker just about anywhere. You were better protection from prying eyes than any Nosferatu invisibility arts. Carrying water from the ivory tower, eh, Babylon? Julian said with a little chuckle, hoisting the plastic gallon jugs out at the back of the tracker. Each read, "Ay buena suerte," or something like it in blue Sharpie. You didn't laugh. Wasn't humanitarian work. Maybe it was. The desert princess still feared that thing that slept under those sands. They told you that if it woke up hungry, it would tear the land apart. How long you think we're gonna do this? Julian asked. Julian talked too much, but sometimes he got through the bullshit with words that carried a conversation of meanings. Along decades, centuries, we neonates nothing but larvae in the eyes of the elders. This is awful work. You know what? You're supposed to be a visionary, Julian. Give me a reason to walk away and I will. I have no fucking attachment to the Camarilla whatsoever. None at all. I mean, you know, it's so funny. It's so funny. If you have to sum up Vampire the Masquerade, it's a whole bunch of half-old people failing at human interaction. Like, horribly failing at human interaction. And I can't say that this is all of them, because if you look at really, really old ones, then they're quite fearsome by themselves and they're playing a whole different game. If you look at the Independents, they're also dancing by their own tune, but the issue is that at some point there actually used to be like sire-child relationships really far back where that thing actually meant something and they tried to stick together like a family would, and then it just became, what's a useful pawn for today? And because you don't even bother to masquerade that fact. Like, you not even pretend to act nice. Do you know, play a bit of psychological warfare? No, you're immediately like, yep, your undead ass is only alive for as long as you're useful to me. Which is a very short-sighted way of rulership of any kind. Best prison is the one where the prisoners don't know that they're imprisoned. Which should kinda be very helpful in knowing how to act with other people. But these short-sighted motherfuckers never learned that lesson. Making it just a spiral of hellish politics where nobody's attached to anybody. And bloody hell if that's not a dangerous place to be in. Rule by the iron fist all you like, but when this is your choice and nobody likes one another, then you're just dancing the dance of having daggers at your back every single day. And everybody is, and that's just such a load of stress that... Why would you want this? Not why would you want to continue existing, but... Why wouldn't you learn at least a tiny bit of psychology and at least pretend to care so that other people like you back and they're not just like... disattached fucks that you're controlling by an iron fist. Failing at relationships. The kindred edition. Everything in the 21st century in Vampire the Masquerade. There we go. You already know all the reasons, Julian said. This work will destroy us. One way or another. We need money, Babylon. That's the ugly truth. All my brilliance and all your lesser but still adequate intelligence won't help us if we don't have a couple $1,000 and some convincing IDs, will it? But if we can get that, just that, we can get away from all of this. I'll even buy a new car. Let you keep the tracker. But we need money. Oh, is that not the vibe? Money issues, the kindred addiction. Addiction. Maybe it's a Freudian slip. We're all slightly addicted to money. Why do you honeys, do you think I run as many sidekicks as I do? That's that. Money, money, money. Something that we all need. Speaking of which, I am running a sale on Tarot Reads on Etsy if anyone's interested in that, in the description down below, I suppose, when this comes up on YouTube. Because I kind of need reviews. So, you know, I'm fine with going almost free. If I get a couple of reviews from it here and there, you have to build your empires one brick at a time. A hot desert wind whipped Julian's black hair around his head as he counted the gallons of water. The Camarilla gave you a job they considered necessary, even vital. Desperate migrants stumbled through this part of the desert, fleeing violence in Mexico and Central America for the promise of a better life in the States. Ha! Without water, many died. 8 groups dropped water and supplies for the migrants. 2 years before, the Camarilla had infiltrated and supplanted one of the 8 groups, replacing their members with you and Julian. Your job positioned the water above the scattered layers of the Nosferatu Elder, the one known only as Riri Mouse. The victims he claimed would give him enough blood to prevent his full awakening. This sucks, Julian said as he checked the GPS coordinates on your Garmin. I mean, I know what we are, I know what we do to survive, but this is just so stupid! It's inefficient and wasteful. This was how the world ran 2 or 3 centuries ago, Babylon, before anyone invented flowcharts or assembly lines. I don't know, Julian, you have a fucking car! Try to know barrels of water in a cart. You might be closer. Ooh. Oh, we're bopping now. Abomination. Thank you, official video game soundtrack by Jagex for RuneScape 3. I feel that. I definitely feel that. The work was intolerable. I convinced Julian that we needed to find something better to do with our unlives. It seems that the biggest struggle that we're having in here is the morality of all of it. Which I don't blame. I don't blame anybody for it. The moment you understood what you had become, you knew that you would have to make certain sacrifices in order to maintain your undead existence. The beast needed to be fed after all, but there were limits and this was yours. You and Julian didn't even need to say anything. You just threw the water back in the tracker and drove off. You dumped the plastic jugs a few miles up the road. I convinced Julian by not speaking. If we decided to continue doing this, would we need to convince Julian otherwise? Because we just convinced Julian by being completely silent. After a long silence, Julian said, "The thing about our masters is they don't actually have very long memories. All us neonates look sort of alike to them. We'll keep our heads down for a few years. If anyone asks, we'll say we got run off by, I don't know, werewolves or anarchs or something. Still don't have any money," reminded the Assamite. "It's gonna be bad fucking year, couple of years, Babylon," Julian said. It wasn't actually that bad for Julian, though. A few months later, Julian got his money, though you never learned how. Something to do with venture capital interested in the software he was developing? Anyway, one night he just disappeared, leaving you with the geo-tracker, a stack of CDs with file names written on them, and blue Sharpie instructions to deliver them to Industrial Park in Austin. Looked up his new company, 2100X, which was apparently located in Denver, but you could never find an address or contact number. And that's been your life ever since. You know, You know, when somebody falls off like that, I have to question if Julian wasn't like yoinked by higher-ups or something. Because I don't think that he personally chose to do this. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm more humane than a monster would be. You can move your hands now. You rise and glance outside through the narrow crack between the desk and the wall. It's full dark. Your hunger is a ache in the back of your gums that leads right up behind your eyes and threatens to turn into a migraine. Oh! Oh! Undead migraines! If that's what hunger feels like as a vampire, I don't give a shit about your ass. I'm gonna drain every motherfucker dry that even like steps next to me every single day because I know what migraines are the bane of my existence. So no. Marta would never fall that low. No. Like the memory of a migraine would haunt her undead ass into humanity 3. It would haunt her undead ass into a path. It would haunt her undead ass into killing. You head into the dingy and abandoned convenience store, part of the abandoned filing station, wander past dusty and empty shelves and glance outside those gaps in boarded up windows. Shadow patrols, no stuffing at the broken linoleum tiles. You can't see the strange eagle, but you still smell blood. It's faded but impossible to ignore. A moment catches your eye, but it's just your reflection in the broken glass of an empty display case. You stare into the eyes of a haunted-looking, eternally young woman. You look like shit. Bloodshot eyes, skin pulled back from your nails and teeth. Thrift store clothes. Even your satchel looks like someone dragged it down a highway. You check the satchel, your deliveries to USBs are still in there. Then you hear a sound outside, a few whispered words in Spanish weeping. Thank God, food! Yep. I concur. Concur me. It looks like they used the entrance you made to get inside, and then they boarded it back up again so no one from the road spots their flashlight. Flashlight, yes, No lighty spotty. No lighty spotty, how about that? You're in the middle of the disused convenience store's 3 aisles, invisible in the darkness. At the far side of the store, a short hallway leads to 3 doors, a locked bathroom straight ahead, the office where you slept the night to the right, and you guess is a storage room to the left. The mortals are trying to get it open. You count 4 of them, a man and a woman in their mid-20s, an ancient woman. What's your definition of ancient, I'm sorry? And a frail and gray-haired older man, even smaller than the old woman. The younger woman whispers something in Spanish you don't catch, then forces the storage room door open with a shriek of metal. Not much here, the younger man says, sweeping the storage room with his flashlight. He's traveling heavy, crowbar, backpack, water bottles, road flares. Those are your road flares. Must have found your Honda. Then the young man spins and runs his flashlight across the wall, but your Lobo has already hidden behind the counter. Whoever they are, they're foolish or desperate to bring a woman in her 70s at least. Okay, got it. And a guy who isn't built for this kind of work. You're surprised that this is far north without having already made contact with somebody. The younger woman starts jiggling the handle to the bathroom, which is between the storage room and the office. Bored and fearless, the old man hobbles down one of the aisles, and this screams behind your eyes. You know, 70-year-old people are kind of well preserved, just an FYI. My grandma's over 70 and she's still perfectly fine. I mean, I have quite a bit of issues, and so does my mother. I'm not expecting to live into my hundreds. 70 maybe, but 70-year-olds tend to be kind of okay preserved. Just Just saying. Jesus fucking Christ, what is wrong with me? I sometimes actually talk about people like their food. It's a bad habit. People are not food. People are not food. Repeat after me, people are not food. You can sample their energies, and some of them are. But people are not food. Okay. I should have no problem grabbing the old guy. Without him making a sound, and once my fangs are in, he'll go limp. How convenient. I go for it. Like just a little blood. You need to feed while you're still in control of your actions. You wait until the others are in the storage room, taking most of the light with them, then rush the old man, hands ready to wrap around his mouth so that he does not scream. Though the man isn't in good shape, you worry even as you close in that you're not strong or capable enough to pin him before your fangs sink in. Then, when you're just one step from the man, you hear the young woman on the bedroom door shriek, and then you hear the crunch of bone. Oh! Jesus. Can we still eat the man? Can we still eat the man, please? Man? Food? I mean, personally, I wouldn't care about what's happening in there. I would just be like, no. I can take care of that in a couple of minutes. The old man turns, sees you, and howls in terror. Before you can run, what's left of the young woman flies down the aisle, missing you by inches and splattering your face with blood, and knocks the old guy to the ground. He doesn't get up. You absently note that the woman's corpse is already drained of blood. Then you turn and confront the thing in the bathroom, the kindred of Clan Nosferatu and never beautiful, but this one is particularly hideous. That's not very nice of us. That's not very nice. What's outside is not what matters. Stark naked, and so tall he has to stoop to get out of the room. A flattened skull and a huge bat-like ears. Impossible to imagine what he looked like in life. And then you look into his flat black eyes and realize there's nothing there. Oh boy, that's not good. Pro 2007. What a year! What a year! I was 13. Oh boy. Jesus, actually. Not only could I not remember that year, that was... I think I was after my second surgery. Dealing with hormones. Keeping a diary. Teenage me would be proud of me right now, honestly, and none of my family is. Let's not think the past is in the past, and that's gonna be the statement that I'm gonna live by. I am not the past me, and I'm not the future me. I'm just the present me. I cannot vouch for either of those Murtas. So there's no point reminiscing. In the end, we're weaker than they are, Julian says, watching a trio of teenagers across the 7-Eleven parking lot. Sips blood from his extreme gulp, then uses it to gesture at the mortals. I mean, spiritually we're weaker. We're like scurvy victims or something. We can't heal. Beast, you say? Not going to ask you what you've done in its grip, Julian says. What you've done on your own and blamed the beast for, but I know the beast will eat you if you're not careful. Will eat your soul and live behind your eyes. That happens to one of us, the camera call them whites and hunt them down. And the Assamites, you ask? Don't know, Julian says. Never had the courage to ask. Daddy Assamite, what do we do when people turn completely beast-like? Oh, I kind of feel bad for Julian. Assamites are very, very, very ruthless as a clan. It's like they're the hired assassins, so... involves couple duels to the death oftentimes. Before the embrace or after, so... would make sense why Julian would have never asked. Because once again, none of these fuckers know how to communicate. Or how to keep others enthralled with your charm. And really, really loyal. Without realizing that they are being charmed, because I don't know, you spaced half your brain in the death, gave you brain damage, or you were not that intelligent to begin with. The Nosferatu, the mindless white that had once been a Nosferatu, spots you. Then it turns, and though you cannot see the tough-looking young guy and the old woman, you know that they're cornered in the storage room. As the dead woman's blood runs down its chin, the creature weighs its options, turns toward the storage room, moving awkwardly, because a huge iron chain is fastened around one of its legs. Whoa! Somebody's keeping that. Then something lashes out of the darkness and the white reels back. More surprised than pain, the young man strikes the creature again with his crowbar. That won't be enough to fend off a monster like this. These people will be dead in moments, and then the fallen Nosferatu will turn its mindless rage on you. My mind's still on feeding, honestly. My character's mind probably isn't, but mine is. Call it insatiable blood greed. I shout and rally the young man to fight the white off. Road flares! That will do more against the monster than a crowbar. Can I let them fight it out while I feed, please? You shout, trying Spanish and English, knowing that the man's courage alone will not save him. Only the terror of the open flame can stop the rampaging monster. But he does not listen. You rush forward, but it's too late. When you reach the storage room, the white has torn both the old woman and the young man to bloody shreds. Ah, that's their own fault. Swollen with their blood, it turns on you and can only back away. It picks up the unconscious old man and throws him at you, but you duck. His body bounces off the wall with a wet thud. Ah! Honey, you stole my food. You mindless, you took it all for yourself, and this is just not a nice night for me. Full on pissed here. Full on pissed here. Now, swollen with blood, the white again turns its attention on you. Perhaps it considers you an interloper in the haven it has claimed. Your lobo leaps over the dead woman's corpse and snaps at the creature, buying you time to plan. Dead man's crowbar is useless against the hulking Nosferatu, but a broken mop on the ground might work. Wooden stake through the heart does not destroy a vampire, but it does paralyze one. Can we eat off it a little bit at least? I really need blood, please. The dead man also has more of your road flares. Wave some fire at the white and it will run screaming into the night if you have the courage to hold an open flame. Yeah, that pesky thing of not being mortal. The fight has badly damaged the convenience store's ceiling. If you're quick, you might be able to climb up one of the remaining shelves into the vents when the Nosferatu can't fit. Or look carefully, you realize how extensive the damage is. Maybe you can just bring the whole ceiling down. Whatever you do, you only have a few seconds to decide. The creature wants you gone, but it's so stupid and vicious that it will kill you if you try to leave the way you came. I'm gonna try and stake him. Vampires are always threatening to stake each other and leave them for the rising sun, but you only witnessed it once, and the attack happened so quickly you barely saw it. The white leaps for you just as you duck, roll, and grab the broken mob. Hands roll across the floor as you regain your feet. When the white rushes again, you meet its charge and slam the stake through its chest. The two of you collide in the middle of the aisle and you're thrown back against the shelf. The creature writhes and screams. You heard it, but if it's still screaming, that means you missed. You roll to your hands and knees and rip the mob handle out of its monster's chest, showering yourself with black blood. Please lick it off. The white's fist lashes out, catching you across the jaw, and you feel something break. You don't have time for pain. You bring the stake down again and again, but the creature keeps fighting you off. Finally, a glancing blow from its fist knocks you across the convenience store. Skid on the tiles, leaving a bloody smear. The monster howls one final time and smashes through the boards off the front door, fleeing it in the night before you can finish the job. God damn it. All of my food ran away! All my food ran away, and boy am I pissed about that. I'm internalizing that hunger more than my character is, mainly because I know what a migraine feels like. You check your iPhone, it's broken. You take out the SIM card and destroy it, and destroy the spares you carry. You wear a watch because sunrise is never far from your mind, and yes, that's broken too. Then you check your satchel, but the USBs are all still there, all safe. Your hunger is still a dull ache in your teeth, and you're still in control for now. You check it out again in the cracked glass and the empty display case. There's blood on your hands and face and clumps of gore in your hair. The jeans are in tatters. You try to sink in the bathroom, but the water has been shut off for years. After a few minutes, you find some cleaning supplies. Being dead, you don't worry too much as you spray blood off your face with a sponge. After a few minutes, you look like you escaped a mental patient, but not like a Romero zombie. No one in the right mind would pick you up as a hitchhiker, but you might be able to reach town. Head back to where you left your car, but it's gone. Instinctively, you check the satchel one more time, but everything is there. Everything that happened was a distraction, someone else's problem. You can reach the outskirts of Tuscan before dawn, and from there make your way to the new Prince's Court. Deliver these USBs, and you'll make enough money for a new car. Be able to keep doing this night after night. Start walking. Yeah. At least we have claws so we can bury ourselves, but I wanted a snack. The game's all like, no, you don't get a snack. Don't get a snack. Why am I internalizing hunger more than my character is? Freaking beast Murta here. You're already past the place you were supposed to stay yesterday, but it's just an empty garage. There's nothing there for you. An hour before dawn, you reach the chain link fences and industrial parks that mark the outskirts of Tuscan. You can see cheap stucco houses up ahead, but the burbs are no place for a vampire. Put in a cell phone or Without a cell phone or money and with your clothes too trashed for polite company, you're forced to rely on a skill set you don't really have, street survival. Far from the heart of the city, you find a neglected Planet 8 drop box behind the rundown strip mall. The door has been left open, and with 5 minutes left before sunrise, you crawl inside. Amid the black plastic trash bags, wet clothes, and broken bottles, you find an old wire clothes hanger and use it to jam the door shut. Then you shove wet socks up the seams around the opening mechanism and no sunlight crops in. You spend the day drifting in nightmares as you boil in the metal box. Unable to move, all you can do is scream in your own mind as the temperature inside crawls above 100 degrees. Whoa. The moment the sun sets, you squirm outside, reeking of old trash. A new low. Shadow whimpers when they see you and nuzzles your hand, either out of pity or to check if they can eat you. I mean, we could stay in the place that we planned to stay on before we passed it. That was an option, but our dumbass was like, no, let's pass it. I mean, we could have broken into a house in the burbs, but we're like, nah. I mean, people living alone is a thing, you know. Could have been like, help me, sir, I have been attacked. And clean myself off with cleaning supplies, but have been attacked, nonetheless. Please take me into your house, kind sir. Please let me stay today. I mean, unless you have absolute certainty that it's a neighborhood of hunters, there's not much you're risking, honestly. Okay, all that matters is the USB. Stay still good. They're in the satchel and you look fine. Ah. That means you still have a fistful of cash waiting for you at the end of this road. Only concern is that your satchel is physically falling apart. Remove the USBs to an interior pocket and get walking. You never wanted to come back to Tuscan? Also, I'm sorry, what? Okay, think hemispheres? Hemispheres are a thing, you dumbass? Because I'm all like, okay, so it's November, which means that we're moving into winter months. But the sunrise is creeping up and not down, and not down, like, it used to be 6:40 a.m. and now it's 6:29 a.m. And I'm like, alrighty, yeah, the Earth moves in hemispheres, doy! Sometimes it's winter and sometimes it's summer. You never wanted to come back to Tuscan. It's been a black spot on your personal map for years, but here you are. You have to avoid the good neighborhoods, the big stucco houses on the little plots of land with the raked out front yards and blue recycling bins. Oh, aren't they pretty? For a few moments, a black and white Mustang with a thin blue line Punisher decal on the hood creeps behind you in first gear. You can't tell if it's an actual police car or some kind of patriot group. But you cut through a park where they can't follow. There's a public bathroom there where you might be able to clean up a little. The mirror is cracked and someone shit in the urinal. Blah! Jesus. But the water works. That's nice. I hope that we're in a bad neighborhood, that nobody shat in the public toilet's urinal in the good neighborhood, because if they did, I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I might just not be internalizing text and nothing should run through it again, but I'm not gonna. You spend a few minutes scrapping trash off that look around for either threads or opportunities. Your hunger is gnawing distraction in the back of your mind, but you can still think. Find yourself thinking, where are all the junkies? It's not like this is a nice park. You lurk in the shadows for a few minutes just to remember what it is like to lurk in the shadows. You don't see anyone. That's when you recognize where you are. The abandoned building rises above you, and when the wind shifts, you can still smell the chemical fires. This was the lair of your nameless sire, the one other kindred called Lampango. You crawled out of here every few nights to escape her spawn and to provide her with the sustenance she craved. Interesting that we didn't realize that we're standing here. No, yep, I'm gonna be nice. Her own way, she was a mystic, a visionary, and a heretic. I still carried the flame of enlightened rebellion. My life's goal is to be called a mystic, so I'm fully gonna internalize that. I hope that one day when I die, somebody's gonna be like, oh, she was a mystic and a heretic, and she passed me the light of enlightened rebellion. And I would be like, oh, that's poetry to my wraith ears. That sounds so amazing. Thank you so much. At least you try. Was Lampango trying to teach you something? Maybe not. Maybe she was just a beast. But you learned something nonetheless. When you reach the Elysium, the pale corpses there will see the fire in your eyes. Elysium is one of the defining ideas of the Camarilla. It is a neutral meeting ground where violence and the use of vampire powers are forbidden. If you get spotted, and many Elysiums, kindred are allowed to exist as they are, not as the Masquerade demands them be. The Tuscan Elysium is located on the roof of a nightclub called the Viper, because... Thank you for being, like, appropriately really, like... I don't know, culty RuneScape music? Because this is ramping up to new heights. But, why is it that it's always like nightclubs? I don't like that noise. Why can't it just be a 24/7 bookstore? Or a zoo? Or a museum? There's so many places that are normally not used during the night that one could use as a Elysium, and it wouldn't be that suspicious. Come on, guys. Come on. You can hear the pounding industrial music from the parking lot, but you're not here for the party. I hate parties. Been outside the Viper before, but never in and never up. Scan the rooftop and wonder whether to approach first or try to hunt. It's bad form to arrive in Elysium hungry, but hunting nearby is often forbidden since it attracts noise. Note this noise, one and the same, what's the difference? An eagle settles on the fire escape. Remember the way that eagle looked at you a few nights ago, and you suspect it's the way in. You follow up the fire escape, trying to ignore the hunger that has been gnawing on your lip. I would have just gone hunting, honestly. You don't know what shadow art this place employs, but you reach the top step and the empty-looking rooftop of the Viper disappears, replaced by a sprawling patio covered in cacti and desert shrubs. Footpaths lead through the secret garden, and small stone bridges cross the narrow rivulets of cold flowing water. From here, the lights of the schooner are invisible, and the night sky is the way deep in the desert. Shades of purple and blue and black, with the Milky Way brighter than you ever seen it. You know what? Whatever spell magic you're using, I'm totally digging it. I hate nightclubs. I would settle for the night sky as well. Ah! No! No! I can't select things. It's quiet up here, but the music from the nightclub below vibrates through the trashed soles of your boots as you cross the flagstones. Fellow kindred watch you with disgust as your boots leave crumbly trail of black dirt. You seize them up quickly and dismiss them just as quickly. Your weak Camarilla, fledglings and neonates, ghouls, dead-eyed mortal servitors, and blood dolls. Look around for someone important. Bill flies past you and lands beside a young-looking man in a linen suit with turquoise jewelry. He's conversing in worried tones with a Nosferatu, a particularly hideous example of the clan, whose face is a death's head of a grey-black muscles. As if their skin has been peeled away. Face! Okay. I was like, I'm concerned about the fact that they have muscles on their head. And then I was like, face! Her monstrous face contrasts with her striking and powerful physique. Blood! I need blood! You feel thin and emaciated like the victim of some awful wasting disease. The heroines died off in the old books. But the Prince of Tuscan, whoever he is, runs a clean Elysium. No hastily banded throats, no crystal goblets of sticky blood. Perhaps the feast is yet to begin, or perhaps the kindred here prefer to indulge their habits in private. Every domain is different and misunderstandings are dangerous. Feel yourself groaning. Thin, high-pitched, killing sound. Snap your mouth shut! You know better than to disgrace yourself in Elysium. The go alone seems to sense your need. Paws beckoning you. Ah, that's a beautiful picture! That is so pretty! It's a Gangrel prince and I like him because that's beautiful. The man in the turquoise jewelry watches your approach with a slight smile. Your Lobo hesitates for only a moment. Their eyes on the eagle, the young-looking man is seated comfortably in a wicker chair next to a small zinc table with an old laptop, a white hat, and a heap of typed and handwritten correspondence. The Nosferatu standing beside him only scowls. Welcome to Tuscan, he says. His accent is foreign from somewhere in Europe, despite the Native American jewelry and the... Native American jewelry? What? No, it's not. It's just a turquoise necklace, come on. And wide-brimmed hat in front of him. I'm Prince Leto, this is Dove, and you are Babylon, he says, the courier. It looks like you had a difficult journey. A clump of mud falls out of your hair and splats onto the flagstones. Give us the data, Outlander, the Nosferatu snaps. Dove is wearing a silk screen jacket, kicked around Converse All-Stars, and snapback with a local minor league baseball team on it. Driving glares and tucked into her pocket. Another courier? Dove sounds like the start of camera laptop who needs to get yanked around. So Dove, do you have like a dove like this guy has an eagle? Does everybody get a bird? Ooh. Oh god damn it, I'm digging her face too. This is beautiful. Nosferatu glares down at you, but the prince seated beside her only laughs, his tone warm and friendly. Dove has little interest in the creatures of the night. Her dark gifts maintain the Elysium, he says, but she is most useful for what she knows. And right now she wants to know what those USBs hold. I imagine you do too. You yanked her around enough, so you set the USBs on Prince Leto's table. Thank you, Babylon, he says. Leto's laptop is an old Asus, probably intended to read information once before it's destroyed. When Prince inserts the USB, a folder appears with a video and a few text files. No encryption! Jesus Christ, guys, you like to live dangerously. Feel free to watch Babylon, Leto says. He checks his Vacheron Constantin. It's 1:49 a.m. Then he looks east. He stares for a long time, as if with longing, then shakes his head. I don't think this interests you directly, but I try not to keep secrets here in Tuscan. Warm, friendly smile and nice at what you like. Where did that bird go? Video opens awkwardly with a hand holding a webcam. See a man's face, and then you see a ritual chamber. Ooh. I'm digging all the vampires in here. They're really pretty. Tremere, the warlocks, the usurpers. Once the clan of sorcerers and blood of magicians, their discipline and interclan loyalty admired even by their enemies. The Tremere are now scattered and leaderless after the destruction of their great chantry in Vienna. You might have fallen low over the past few years, but not as low as the warlocks. Ah! The failure of the clan apparently translates to the failure of each one of them. Yeah, you see, majority of them has nothing to do with all the deaths that have happened in Vienna and probably are still operating like normal, except in smaller groups, so... that's judgy! Me, that's very judgy. I don't recognize this Tremere. He's white and apple-cheeked with a short grey beard. Partly in the way vampires rarely are. Like an avascular college professor. He's wearing a fair Iowa sweater vest and pressed slacks. Holding a silver knife with one hand as he tries to adjust the webcam with the other. That's Jasper Knowles, Tremere Magus, Leto says conversationally. Do you know him? Tremere scum that should all be dragged out of their havens and burned for their crimes, which is also true. Oh, wow. Tremere all scum and I don't associate with them. Not true, but it's the most common attitude in the Camarilla right now. And I might as well try to fit in. What the actual blimmin' fuck? Did I miss that? Where in V5 have they like completely fallen out of Camarilla? This is news to me. Wait, okay, so... Gothic's branch. It's led by Gothrix, yep. It used to be Sabat, but I thought that they were Camarilla aligned? Tremere... Gothrix. I am just not finding what I need to find. World of Darkness, Tremere. Magic of Googling. No blood bonds, yep. Version differences. Gorathrix, there we go. He's the one guiding the clan, the main section of the clan right now. Okay, let's try this again. Skirthrix. Okay. Expanded. Jesus Christ, I can't continue digging for information like this. This isn't informative. And this game is not informative. I'm sorry, but... Oh! I blew out my own candle. That's bad. I know quite a lot of World of Darkness. And this kind of information just like comes out of nowhere for me. The fact that Camarilla actively consider Tremere to be scum because 2 out of 3 Tremere houses right now are Camarilla aligned still. So what? What? I'm sorry, what? I've never seen him before in my life. Otto watches you closely as you answer, tongue against his teeth, concentrating. He thinks you know something, but you've never seen this Tremere. Dove gasps. Knowles has stepped away from the webcam, revealing a dingy cyberblock room with faded orange stripes on the walls and Nosferatu chained to an iron spike in the floor. Jesus. The Nosferatu that almost killed you the other night. Sire, Dove whispers. Oh, it's her sire! And Nosferatus are not normally assholes, so they actually do have good relationship between one another. Normally. Kind of stick together. Prince Leto's illusion of good cheer falters for a moment. Both he and the eagle glare at the Dove. You're here so he can get a read on you, not so his underling can give you information. Okay. He didn't want you to know that. This experiment has gone on for as long as it can, Knowles says in the video. Science sometimes ends in failure, my dear. And so does our version of it. No intelligent remains in the specimen. It has become increasingly dangerous and aggressive. Once it's destroyed, I'll send what's left to you. Also going to wrap up my daytime business. I know that we are still allowed to communicate via email as our flesh and blood citizens, but my mortal identity is almost 80 years old, and soon people will wonder. Something off screen draws Knowles' attention. He turns the knife, ready to insert it into his wrist, perhaps to use blood magic. Fortunately for Knowles, he's looking the wrong way. As he stares past the webcam, a figure detaches itself from the shadows off the wall, looks almost casually up to chained Nosferatu and removes its shackles. The rest of the video is chaos. White hurls itself at Knowles, the Tremere screams and stumbles into the webcam, which falls. Sorcerer's fire blackens the ceiling. Okay, this is totally the wizard mentality from D&D, where like something bad happens and you immediately fireball, out of surprise, and normally it sets the whatever building you're in on fire. Because fireballs tend to be like a really, really awful thing to use at the best of times. I feel like this would hold true for Tremere as well. Like, don't fireball. Fireball bad. Fireball extra bad when you're undead now. Even undead fireball bad. The rest of the video is chaos, yep. 30 fists rise and fall again and again, and like most Tremere, Knowles has mastered the vampiric art of inhuman resilience. And that only makes his destruction longer and more horrible. Oof. Video suddenly ends. Oh, what's up with the figure that freed the Nosferatu? Why couldn't I see it clearly? La Sombra, my dear! You know that apparently Tremere is supposed to be hated, which are news for me. But you don't know about La Sombra? Well, no, our information differs. You never seen those before, Leto says. It sounds frustrated. Don't go back. Who was that shadow? Watch it again, but the shadow is just a blur of formless motion. An impressive disguise, Leto says, thoughtfully, freeze framing on the blur. Assassin doesn't even move fast at first, they're just nothing there but a smear. Almost as impressive as the rooftop. And what happened to the Nosferatu? Did he escape? Rolls the video back and forth, trying to get a better view of the right, but he seems to remember you. He reaches into a bag at his feet and hands you a manila envelope and goes back to scrolling around. $1,000 in 20s. Your job is done. You know the answer to Leto's question, of course. The Eagle Prince's gaze wanders again. He looks east over the skyline of Tuscan. You know what? I'll share what I know. I mean, he's out there somewhere. You describe your narrow escape from the mindless Nosferatu. I'm impressed you're still alive, little neonate. Ah, little whittle, Leto says. The Nosferatu you fought was old and powerful in his time, the child of Rere Mouse himself. Then his stone hardens and slices through the air like a razor. Dove, your sire is now your responsibility. Find and destroy him. You have 7 nights. Oh, that's heavy. Watching the video seemed to have taken all the fight out of the Nosferatu. She just nods. Have too many questions. The most obvious is, why did Prince Leto let you watch the video? Princes are secretive and paranoid creatures, and even in these nights, when the true elders have sunken into torpor or fled to the old world, even a young prince like Leto has survived centuries of betrayal and revolution. Princes don't tolerate risk, which means either Leto or his situation here are unstable, or worse, he already knows you and has accounted for you. Babylon, I have more work for you, the Prince of Tuscan says. You will remain here tonight. My man Alexander will provide you with shelter, sustenance, and suitable clothing. Yay, new clothes! And hose you down, obviously. I apologize if he treats you like a horse, but he misses horses. Alexander is a small and sallow man. He wears an oversized gray suit, like a refuge from some 20th century war. He does not smile, which is for the best, since you see that his teeth are gray. Follow me, Alexander says. The accent is thick and his breath is acidic like bile. An old ghoul. Kindred grows strange and cold as they age, but old blood slaves are stranger still, and sometimes more dangerous. With that settled, Alexander says, you should drink. He taps a coat into a locked case and takes out a tall flute of blood. The Eagle Prince apologizes for his crude repast, but he does not trust new guests around his herd when they're so hungry. It's good. It's good. I take anything that I can get, honestly. It doesn't really matter in which way the blood comes. You must understand that you cannot trust your every new arrival. You drain the glass and feel the blood sparkle through your veins. Room temperature blood, and even treated not to spoil, lacks savor and resonance. You wonder if having to drink this stuff is punishment or a test. When you're done, you're still hungry. After a shower, the servant leads you back to a glass observation room above the club's main dance floor, where a selection of clothing is waiting, and you realize that Prince Leto is giving you gifts. That isn't good. You know that happens if you end up... what happens if you end up in debt to a prince? Please, Alexander says, you must rest for the Elysium. The Eagle Princess is... Eagle Prince! That's nice. Do I get to be the wolf courier then? Do all of us get an animal? You glance at the clothes on display. It isn't exactly draping you in Armani, at least. I see a mix of work clothes and streetwear, but nothing too upmarket. Don't see any bloodstains either. I kind of want my Princess Charity, though. You know, it's something tough and functional for the road. I mean, we are a carrier, plus black leather jacket is a look. Engineer boots. You flip through the options until you find a black leather jacket with just enough wear that you don't look like a poser. Engineer boots are big, heavy, and probably out of fashion, but you don't care. You even have a military surplus duffel bag for your courier work. Black jeans and a pack of t-shirts in black, white, gray, and red complete the ensemble. You also find a scratched up Panerai Luminor, a fake obviously, and a white cuff band of black leather. Yay! You ascend metal stairs that thump with the bass of the EDM below back up to the rooftop of Elysium. Leto Seagull watches you. A Gangrel prince is unusual, even in these nights. You wonder where Leto came from. And you wonder what he wants with you. You're still watching the video and reviewing whatever information they got from the other USBs. Dove is scanning the parking lot below. You will be remaining with us for some time, Alexander says. You understand what this means, yes? Of course you understand what will happen if you try to flee. Look toward the parking lot too, you need a car. We are very friendly people on Tuscan, Alexander says, finally smiling. It's an awful sight, little grey rat teeth, skin that crinkles like paper. Not like other cities, you may know. Speak to people about what you need, though was like you once. He drove. You need a car? She has cars. Her retainer Carlos is the one listening to music from below. He is a police officer. He has, you know, rooms, stashes of the shit. Is that what he said? He keeps evidence rooms with the good shit. Maybe you need that sort of man. He's proud and cruel though. Do not let him bait you. Carlos spots you and Alexander looking at him and gives you a finger. And if you need blood? I was a doctor in my youth. When I was young, I said to my teachers, this bleeding, it does not work. It does not make the patients better. Isn't that funny, knowing what I do now? A little joke. But I have an important job. When kindred feed and kill, they endanger the Masquerade. Tell Prince Leto. Hate telling him these things. I would prefer if kindred come to me for advice. I will give you this advice now. Do not hunt near the Viper. It is not permitted. And of course, do not use your gifts here. The sudden movement of blood can upset stove. Okay, yeah, if you were bloodletting, you're like proper old man. You're proper, I feel so bad for him now. How long has he been a ghoul? Hundreds of years. What? Soleto is cute. I'm gonna talk to him and see if there's a Mrs. Prince of Tuscan. I don't... I mean... I kinda really wanna try that, but I don't think that he would take the flirting kindly, but I kinda wanna try that. You know what, fuck it. Let's flirt with the prince. That's about as bad an idea as any. And you approach Prince Leto, closes his laptop and rises cordially. He's tall and slim, his face and hair both silvery in the moonlight. It's dangerous to chat up an elder, but Leto is more approachable than other princes you met. Less explicitly monstrous, and there's something lonely about him. You get the impression he's frustrated to be tied down in this place. Strange to exist again in a time of ignorance, Babylon. Leto says, when I was new dead, the Commonwealth was still a land of darkness and superstition. Oh, I'm sorry, we have only just met, haven't we? And I'm talking to you like I'm picking up a thread of an old story. Let me start at the beginning. I died around the same time as my country did, around when the United States was fighting King George III. Most Americans know nothing of these events, of course. I was held in little esteem when I came to Arizona, especially by the Ventru who ruled here at the time. But when the old prince went mad attacking the other clans and got himself destroyed, there were very few elders left who had not already fled. So I became prince in this new dark age, brought about by the Second Inquisition and our fear, justified, it turns out, of being tracked through these devices. And in between, you ask? Prince Leto skipped over about 200 years there. A story of another time, Babylon, the prince says with a secret smile. There's some kind of dispute in the parking lot down below. 3 women yelling at a guy. They'll get gestures and Heavy's head downstairs to sort it out. I examined Leto's ego. If I'm gonna be... I haven't even flirted with this guy. I feel like this guy is flirting with me. But he's not even flirting, he's telling me a story. What is this? Well, yeah, examine his ego. How fascinating and how dangerous, I approve. Her name is Riga, Prince Leto says. I named her after a city I always wanted to visit. Ah, close to my lands. Prince gestures for the eagle, who hops onto his wrist. He holds the huge raptor aloft easily, right next to his eye. We kindred are confronting a new dark age, the prince says. Frigga and my light in the darkness. I see what she sees. The Ventru who like to imagine they rule the Cameral have lost 2 clans now, including mine, because they can only give orders. They cannot listen. They cannot understand what the subjects want. The clan of kings never understood that Prince is not a king. Leto shrugs, and Rita returns to her cactus. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll end up staked and left for the sun when the wheel turns again. I tried to offer Tuscan something better than the old prince. 2 more kindred arrive from the dance floor, skin slick from the other people's sweat, cradling their dazed-looking blood dolls. Prince Leto narrows his eyes at the Svolgor display, but says nothing. Shadow tries to sniff Prince Leto's eagle, but the eagle keeps flighting from cactus to cactus. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna ask Alexander about procuring blood and Tuscan, because I can't talk with the prince anymore, unfortunately. Since you have presented yourself to the prince, Alexander says, you may hunt. Not here, the Viper's Prince Lados, but I can provide you with good, quiet places. I provide the service, not for your sake, but so you do not embarrass your prince. But this is only for tonight, understand? There have been accidents in Tuscan. The prince will not trust you to wander around freely night after night. Rattles off a long list of nightclubs, bars, and halfway homes. His knowledge is cryptic, precise, and up-to-date, and his warnings are invaluable. Whatever was happening in the parking lot below was sorted itself out. The heavies are back upstairs laughing. You memorize the names and faces in case there are trouble later, then circle the Elysium for a few minutes, getting the wheel of the place. You can't believe you're back in Tuscan. You wonder if anyone recognizes you. Beyond the rooftop, the city lights appear dim and washed out, as if seen through a black veil. Red brake lights from the highway look like sluggish trail of blood. Just call her! That's Dove, speaking in hushed but anxious tones to Prince Leto. Can't quite hear the rest of the conversation, but then Prince's genial smile vanishes. Dove withers at whatever he says next. The eagle swings its golden eyes back toward you. Ah, Babylon, Prince Leto says. I told you I would have work for you. I need to send some emails, and that is not easy. It's not as easy as it once was. Come here. We're gonna be delivering emails by hand, I see. You are still fledgling when the Second Inquisition burned through the centers of Camarilla power. Places like Vienna Chantry, arcane fortress of Clan Premier. You weren't important enough to draw the SI's attention. You've been quiet for years, quiet enough that some kindred are starting to use phones and email to conduct their night work again. Cutting into your business, but you know they're fools. Sai was never beaten. The Inquisition is just collecting information now, waiting for an opportunity to strike again. Prince Leto does not want to give them that opportunity. I'm highly recommended, he says, and I hate to see proud member of my own clan brought low by circumstances. I need you to run letters to a few cities near Tuscan. Don't worry, nothing is more than a single night's trip. Why not use your magic bird? I'm not being sarcastic, I sort of want a magic bird. Well, since you're so charming, flirting openly with an elder might be stupidly dangerous, but Leto is charming. Leto smiles, either genuinely delighted or cynically calculating how to exploit his interest. But before he can choose his words, Dove turns to you and says, Prince Leto doesn't need your commentary, whelp. Prince laughs warmly and says, but we all need her help here in the difficult nights. And we can pay $1,000 for the first delivery, or later, based on your performance and how much you impressed my court. In addition, my man Alexander will provide you with vessels, and you may hunt freely in any of the other cities you visit while making your runs. You know what? Gangrel are not even part of the Camarilla. I don't know what Prince Leto is doing here, but I'm gay. Myrta has picked the romance route, which is not a thing. But I'm gay. Prince Leto hands you a printout marked with 3 locations and 3 faces. You don't recognize any of the 3 faces, which is a relief. Maybe you can keep this professional. 3 people need to know about the final death of Jasper Knowles and the reduction of Reremo's child to the state of right. He points to each face in turn. Invidia Cowell worked closely with Jasper after she escaped New York and showed up here. When Clan Tremere fell apart, so did their working relationship, but she needs to know about his destruction. She also needs to know that without Jasper Knowles' considerable private wealth funding her, she can no longer sustain her research, then she must return to Tiscon. Should we tell her that she'll go crazy when she finds out? Dove asks the prince. I've been meaning to get around to that, Dove. Yes, Babylon, deliver my letter and get out. You won't like Dr. Cal's reaction when she realizes she's broke. Yep, I'll just deliver your message. I'm no questions asked. I mean, I'm the delivery driver. What? I mean, do the pizza guy ask about why you need to deliver pizza and what the reaction to pizza is, or do they deliver the pizza? Good luck keeping it professional, Dove says with a little chuckle. Leto points to the next face. Paternoster is one of the rabble, a Bruja. He lurks in St. Basil's Hospital in Phoenix, looking after the lost lambs of our flock. Other rabble, the clanless thin bloods, the mad ones, maybe even Gangrel. Leto chuckles at his own wit. But he actually keeps them in line, though they are dangerously lax. In fact, I would like you to, encourage a bit more tidiness from the kindred at St. Basil's. No open feeding, no drug running, no unauthorized embraces, that sort of thing. This is not a formal mission, you understand, but if you can make our decisive action known, I would appreciate it. But more important, with Knowles gone, the hospital will be up for renovation. These renovations will compromise St. Basil's usefulness as a haven. I'll write instructions for what Paternoster must do. Hello, Synesis! I am doing a long and slow read of the Night Road, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it so far. And RuneScape music actually goes pretty well with it, but this is probably about the last chapter that I read for tonight because 4 AM is approaching, despite the fact that I had a nap at about 11 PM, but you know, normal people tend to sleep at night. Not me. Not this one. I suppose me and the main character have something in common. Is there any way to maintain control of the hospital while shaping renovations to our own profit? Look. If we're going the non-existent romance route with the Gangrel Prince, I may as well appear useful. She's ambitious, Dove says with a little laugh. Stick to running messages, kid. Leto glances at his second in command and continues. Finally, the Venturelin Oliver Crona is a migrant camp in Sierra Blanca, Texas. You may remember her from the excitement a few years ago. Leto was referring to the final death of the old Prince of Tuscan, a powerful blue blood manipulated into launching a crusade of purification against his own clan's old rivals, including the rabble. She has since returned to the Camarille's good graces, since she provides much of the Southwest with blood. But her operation exists atop a mortal substructure that is profoundly politically unstable. Jasper knows destruction will further destabilize that situation, and she needs to know how. Oh, feeding on migrants does sound horrific. Prince Leto continues apparently untroubled by where his blood comes from. Anyway, 3 deliveries, 1,000 each. And you're welcome to hunt in Tuscan in every city you visit for a year after finishing your final delivery. Oh, that's really nice. So you will have to abide by the rules for neonates here in Tuscan. My main Alexander will... My main Alexander! I have a secondary Alexander just like stashed in a cupboard over there, mate. I keep all of my Alexanders in line. My man Alexander will explain once we're finished here. I also give you permission to own property and to create no more than 1 ghoul, though you may not embrace new kindred. And take this for emergencies. And only for emergencies. Prepaid flip phone! And a baggie full of SIM cards. Now if you'll excuse me, I must compose the letters you are to deliver. The prince moves to writing desk under Armada, leaving the pile of electronic devices and written correspondences, and gets to work composing his messages. Sit down nearby, disable the phone's GPS, and get rid of everything that could be used to track you, leaving the device even more stripped down than it began. I'm sorry, I can hunt here for a year, but I can own property. How does this work? Like, my hunting rights just expire, and I'm like, my glorious vacation house in Tuscany. No, wait, Tuscan. We're not in Italy. Yes, many Alexanders, many adventures, all the Alexanders in the world. Glorious Tuscan holiday home that we cannot hunt in anymore. I'm not social. Honestly, I would be really awkward in these situations, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and just shuffle until I can leave. You fade into the shadows of the cacti. My Gangrel self is just fading into the shadows of the cacti. What a sentence. And watch the party. There are more kindred here now than when you first arrived. Not just Dove, but another Nosferatu unrelated to Riri Mouse, an ecstatic-looking Toreador dripping with other people's sweat from the dance floor, Prince Leto's Malkavian Oracle, and a few scummy-looking Ventru in $3,000 suits. Because this is the Camarilla, they come with the furniture. Leto has a small army of blood slaves, but you learn from whispered gossip that none has proven worthy of the embrace. But other than asking a few careful questions, you remain quiet, watching and listening. Kindred here keep disappearing downstairs, but you're sure you're not allowed to feed in the Elysium. Your palms itch, you can't stay here, you need to see what the city has to offer. As if sensing your mood, Alexander returns, his approach heralded by the reeking breath. I have spoken with the prince and he has given you permission to feed in the city tonight. After that, you must speak with me about arrangements. Tuscan can be a difficult city, and you do not yet have a ride. For clubs, stay away from the country and western places. We all love, what is it called? A jamboree, right? Here in America, but they are claimed by others, and do not feed from the sleeping. The Ventru of Prince Leto's court must feed that way, and do not want competition. Ooh! Otherwise, your needs can be met just north of here. There are clubs and allies, drunks and prostitutes, even veterinary clinics and hospitals. You will be watched, of course. Do not dishonor the prince. You lean over the edge of the railing, looking down on Tuscan. For years, you've taken blood wherever you could, usually as payment for a job, but most vampires your age hunt. And most of them specialize. Before you became a carrier, too, you had a specialty. You think back to those years with Julian, before you drove the night roads to perpetuate your existence, try to remember the skills you developed to feed. Become one with the cacti! That is the skill I developed to feed. If this was me and I'm not looking at the options right now, my specialty would probably be like stealing blood bags and eating rats. I don't like people all that much. I found my ways of avoiding people interaction, even with my peculiar needs as a completely normal human being. You know what? Animals. Animals. Thank you for having that as an option. Being a farmer, that's what vampires who feed like you do are called, is harder than it used to be, now that mortals have discovered veterinarian stock drugs. There's more security, more suspicion, and your lifestyle always leaves you on the edge. Animal blood doesn't satisfy the way human blood does. Most vampires aren't really predators, they're parasites. Okay, Googling. Definition of predator. An animal that naturally preys on others. A person who ruthlessly exploits other. Definition of parasite. A parasite is an organism that lives on or is in a host organism and gets its food from and at the expense of its host. There are three main classes of parasites that can cause disease in humans: protozoa, helminths, and ectoparasites. I don't see that. I don't see how this is. Yeah, you are predator. You are what is even the sentence? So you don't have to clean up human corpses, and once you're actually inside someplace, a few dead animals don't arouse much suspicion. Farmer who knows her city has a lot of options: shelters, zoos, ranches, even just heading into the desert with a rifle and bagging game. In a new city, you prefer to find a ranch or a farm, but you don't have a car, so you check your new maps and guidebooks and find a nearby shelter. First one has extensive surveillance and electronic locks, and you learned to notice that sort of thing as a farmer. But the next one is a better part of town, not as secure. Shadow helps you find a good way in. You get up on the dumpster and jizzy open a high window like you've done 1,000 times before and slither inside. Good sneaky sneak. It's 1 AM and no one is inside to hear the dogs go crazy. You know what you are and why you're here, and it doesn't matter. You check to make sure you haven't triggered any silent alarms, but the only heavy security is around the pharmaceuticals. Past the kennels until you found Mouser. Mouser is a 10-year-old chow. He's blind and he's been here for 11 months. Goodbye, Mouser. Afterward, you lick the wound clean. It looks like a heart attack, and then you gather as much information as you can about the location of others. Animal blood is weak and farmers have to feed regularly. You need another target tomorrow night, but this is a good start. You feel better. Won't always be that easy, you think, as you sit on the park bench with Shadow, sluggishly moving your stolen blood around your body. You vampires can always have fun for the first few nights, but then other kindred learn about your tricks, or hunters notice statistical anomalies, or the herd itself instinctively reacts to the invisible predator in their midst. But tonight you feel good. A Lotus Esprit Turbo and Power Blue rolls up to the curb, a blaring synthwave loud enough to scare the crows. Driver flings a parcel your way. When you pick it up, he peels out. Parcel contains a card for pawn shop, written on the back, Cars. There's also an extended stay ticket for parking garage with 4-digit key code written on the back, so it looks like you have a place to park. Even after midnight, it feels dangerous to run across the wide palm tree-lined boulevard that leads to your destination. You need a car. You're itching like earlier when you needed blood, only now the need is to move fast. Stop fighting the shape of the city and start flowing through it the way it wants you to. By the end of the night, you either need to buy a car or learn how to turn into a bat, because Tuscan is no place for pedestrians. Covenant Pawn Shop is wedged between an auto repair shop and a nail salon across from Title Max. Signs read, cash for guns, we buy gold, and closed. You leave your Lobo outside and step into the sad, dusty spiritual void of the pawn shop. Has PS4 games, dazzled purses, glass case full of francs, a Galio Perfecto, and enough rifles to conquer Belgium. You have not seen the might of a Belgian man. One can take 5 rifleists easily. First thing you do is stock up on a few necessities of your trade, a few duffel bags and rucksacks, a mini crowbar, a small folding knife, a folding shovel, a hacksaw, some lockpicks. That is a lot of necessities: matches, cord, electrician's tape, a flashlight, a blood and tissue kit with extra syringes, spare USBs, and portable toolkit. You stop at the knives because you recognize the silver knife in one display case. Jasper Knowles was holding it before he was killed. Or maybe it's just a knockoff of some movie prop or something, you can't be sure, but that's weird. I feel like we're in a D&D campaign where at the very start you're like, yeah, I'm carrying a tent and I'm carrying a sleeping bag and I have a cooking kit and one of you will have a grooming kit. We do need to have a grooming kit. I ain't walking around the desert without a mirror and without a comb. What do you take me for? And how do you carry this? I don't know. I'm a big character. I carry lots of things. Or I just have an infinite bag or something. Ooh. Behind the display case with the knives is a pretty young woman with choppy blonde hair and Victorian replica railway glasses. I dig it. I dig it. She peered over the sunglasses to watch you like a hawk since you pushed past the closed sign and walked in. You know that reaction. She recognizes a predator but doesn't know exactly what kind, so this place is only tangibly connected to the Tuscan Camarilla. It and she are independent and kept that way because they're useful. When you get closer, the young woman leans close, studying your leather jacket. Her bare arms are covered in Geiger tattoos. Sinuous biomechanical figures in shades of black, gray, and green. Finally, she said, Miguel sent you. Not quite a question, not quite a statement, and you have no idea who Miguel is. You're one of those servitors, whatever, you nod. Call me Elena, let me get you set up. She throws a red leather jacket on over her tattoos. She makes sure you can see the Glock in the shoulder holster. There's a waiting out back. A rusted chain link fence divides Coven Pawn Shop's parking lot from a row of rusted one-set huts. The huts are slightly taller buildings on either side serve to hide a full parking lot of parked cars that probably shouldn't be here. Miguel says you needed wheels, Elena says. She steps into the shadows and starts messing around on her phone, but she keeps her eyes on you above the railway glasses. These cars are shit. Miguel either hates your guts or doesn't care if your mission for Prince succeeds or fails. Instinctively dismiss the vans, economy cars, and anything covered in rust, or that would require more cash to repair than buy. That leaves you with 4 mediocre specimens, a Mitsubishi 3000 GT with too many aftermarket mods, a Honda S2000 with electrical problems, an ancient but still rolling BMW 3 Series, ugly but functional Nissan Frontier. Prices are as listed inside and out, Elena says. She props the back door open. Well, this $900. Ah yes! Dungeons and Vampires, the Berta edition! I would play it. Oh, you know what? Let's have a look at Nissan Frontier. I don't know anything about cars, but you said functional, and I like that word. Ah, it be durable, yo. The pickup is the newest vehicle on the lot in your price range, though that isn't saying much. It's ugly on the outside, rust-stained and salt-streaked. Did someone drive this thing down from Manitoba, wherever that is? Not particularly fast, and even though it's fairly new, you know it's going to turn like a 53 Mercury. But all that post-2000 passenger safety know-how counts for something. Pound for pound, the Frontier is as tough as the little BMW, and the Frontier has a lot more pounds. If you find yourself rolling into a gunfight across broken rocks or back time to fight Vlad the Impaler's heavy infantry, this is the vehicle for you, and it's black! Take the Nissan around the parking lot, then around the block for a few times with Elena riding shotgun and Shadow in the roomy backseat. Plenty of room in here if you ever need to transport something bigger than a manila envelope, like a cursed sarcophagus. Ha 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 ha! Good mention. This Nissan is perfect. Still, the driving experience is viscerally unpleasant. It's floaty and slow, the visibility isn't as great as you were expecting, and you think something is wrong with the electrical because it doesn't feel like the power steering works right. I'm going to hate driving this thing, but it drives! You know what, I'm curious about the knife, but I do like better prices. The Is that what they call the Klingon knife? Taujik? No. Elena says her pronunciation is flawless. You can't afford it. Solid silver for killing werewolves, I guess. Pon says she doesn't believe in werewolves. Christ! Aren't there werewolves in Tuscan? Maybe you should buy it. And I'm not selling it anyway because I think the guy who sold it might actually come back. The guy that sold it died. Actually, the guy that sold it couldn't sold it because he died, so okay, somebody took a knife off a dead vampire and sold it, fair enough. Okay. I'm well educated and know my way around finances, even criminal ones. I use my phone to do some research and learn about Covenant's friends. Seem to help me haggle prices down. Ask Elena a few more careful questions about her financing just to give you a place to start. She seems more amused than worried by your questions, and soon you have a few search terms to enter. Even shying away from Elena's illegal activities, you see all sorts of inefficiencies in her business model. At least you think you do. You only have access to public information like her lease. But when you ask Elena a few questions about where her money is going, you realize that she's a capable businesswoman. You're just a little bit better. She moves her lip, then says, "Tell you what. Come back tomorrow and log in a shift fixing my payroll, and you promise not to act weird. I give you a discount." After a little more negotiation as a deal, and she agrees to give you a modest discount. Okay, I'm gonna go back to shopping. Ah! I also want the sword. Most of Elena's swords are shitty mole katanas that you couldn't use to beat a chihuahua to death. A few are real deal and start at 2,500, but one has a price tag of only $300. Elena unlocks the case and hands you a Bavarian M18869. Oh, these things have price tags? Oh, I mean, of course these things have price tags. What the hell is wrong with me? It's 4 AM, that's what's wrong with me. It's more like these things have intricate naming conventions with numbers. Someone refurbished this, but they also removed the quillions. It's supposed to be a bayonet, but now it's almost like a machete with a better balanced blade. And the balance is really good. You flick it through the air a few times, getting the feel for it. Now this is a vampire stopper. Heavy enough to chop enough limbs or necks, nonetheless a precision instrument reliant on your agility and training. Is that authentic, you ask? You actually don't care because unlike everyone else who comes in here, you might actually need to kill somebody with this thing. Well, it was, Elena says, until the guy who used its own displays cut off the, what's the word, the handguard parts so he could practice eskrima with it. And since its value as an antique is ruined, you can afford it and still have enough cash left to buy a vehicle. Okay. I buy the sword. I buy the car. Okay, what about computers? We're buying things in the pawn shop. We just bought a shitty car. It cost about as much as the sword that we just bought. We're purchasing shit. Too long didn't read this, we're purchasing shit. Well, I can't afford a Raspberry Pi laptop for $540. So, fuck it. Done shopping. It's 2:16 AM according to your knockoff Panerai when you pull out the Covenant pawn shop and your new Nissan Frontier, and sunrise is at 6:29 AM. It's still early, so you drive around for an hour just to find the cheapest gas stations and the fastest ways out of town. Couldn't we use our feet? Couldn't we read a map? Jesus, that wastes gas. Gas are like gold. Then you accelerate smoothly onto the East Broadway Boulevard near a plasma center and here for a garage address you got earlier. Shadow sticks their head out, then he Frontier's passenger side window. Well, let's see how we got here. We are a night courier that has spent their unlife barely making ends meet because money is still a problem. Delivering messages for all of the undead assholes that live here. And we ended up in Tuscan. Not Tuscany. I wish we ended up in Tuscany. No, we are in Tuscan. With a Gangrel prince. We're also a Gangrel, by the way. That obviously gave us more quests to do and didn't take no for an answer anyway. And it gave us $1,000 for shopping expenses, and for everything successfully delivered for him, we're gonna get 1,000 more. And we had nothing on us because our car broke down and we barely survived before that point. So we went to the pawn shop for supplies. Pawn shop of the all sorts varieties, apparently. Shadow sticks the up. When a shadow crosses the hood of your Nissan, you look up and catch a glimpse of wing eclipsing a streetlight. That Riga, Princess Leto's eagle? Oh, so we named our dog Shadow, and then sometimes there's shadows that appear, so this is capitalization. Important. You find your spot in the underground parking garage. Right in front of it is a metal door with a keypad. You grab everything from your Nissan, lock it once Shadow is out, and enter the code. Inside is an office with appealing linoleum floors, an ancient metal desk with a rusty mini-fridge on it, and a sleeping bag. Short right corridor ends in a jury-rigged shower and a drain. There's a clear plastic bag and some toiletries on the tile and a bottle of 409 that don't do anything against the smell of mildew. There's no Wi-Fi. Still, it's better than sleeping in a boiling hot clothing drop-off, and your phone actually gets good reception. Even better, there are escape routes into the sewers that could good use. You listen to grates and make sure they have a clear route into the sewers in case you're exposed. You're just getting settled in when you hear the door lock beep. The metal door opens and that's Julian Slim. Ah, K-pop vampire! A new personal low, Julian says. He's wearing glitched t-shirt and smile. He starts to enter and looks down and says, "You have to invite me in." Music is appropriately whimsical, and that's just RuneScape's friggin' soundtrack in the background. Thank you, RuneScape. You're actually being very mood appropriate most of the time. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna play your game, even though obviously I don't need to invite you. Come on in, make yourself comfortable. There's no reason to be uncivil. Going to try, Julian says, looking around as if two of you didn't crash in way worse places than this. Scratches your lobo behind the ears and he tosses you a tiny webcam. It was in your ceiling, by the way. Give me your phone. I'll take care of the tracking there. He looks so young, you think, as he wanders in and out of your shitty crash pad, sweeping for bugs. For some reason, you expected him to age. To look at yourself in your innocent side view mirror, you haven't aged either. Man, it's been a while, Julian says, leaning against the doorframe. I remember the nights we spent keeping the elder asleep with the offerings of blood. The days curled up together in the desert. Wasn't it romantic? Oh, it's that Julian! The one that disappeared. Oh, the Assamite. K-pop Assamite? Nani? I'm not saying anything about what happened when we were fledglings. How have you been? Good, Julian says, catching your hand. Getting rich, being smart. You know how I am. Glances around your new hovel again. Anyway, we need to discuss Cloud Premiere and the things they get up in their research. Been working with Jasper Knowles recently. Terrible what happened to Jasper, of course. It's also terrible what he did to the sewer rat. And that Outlander and that... Anyway, what's worse is that lately I've been working with Jasper, not Canine to canine, but man to man, as it were. Okay, you've been busy. I obviously want to know more. I've been too busy, Babylon, Banu Hakim says. Where should I begin? Since the Convention of Thorns, the Masquerade has protected us from the mortal scrutiny. We hide what we are, we live in the shadows, but that can't last. He tosses the USB webcam up and down. Second Inquisition should have taught us that. One day soon, humans will learn the truth, the inevitable. Do you know why Jasper Knowles decided to end his experiments with that Nosferatu? Because someone filmed it when it got out. Then he called me to turn the video from the Masquerade breach into a trailer to a new student horror film. Had to fix some date stamps, but the Tremere paid me well. That's going to happen more and more, Babylon, and eventually it's going to be happening every night, all the time, always on, constant streaming. We must stop offering a hard wall against the inevitability and start creating a guided path for the mortals. Sell it off as fake! Yeah, I'm with you, actually. Yep. You're talking about a whole new way that humans will be forced to view the world. That's ambitious, Julian. I'm glad you're interested, Julian says. This is all speculative, of course. Anything real is years away, but we need to begin now. Honestly, we should have begun the moment people got camcorders, but we still have time. Tomorrow, now that you have this beautiful machine. Okay, sentences. We can still do sentences, Julian says. Hanging the hood of your Nissan, Prince Leto will give you one of 3 USBs. You like to know what's on them. What do you answer? One wants to Bruja Patermuster about renovations to his hospital that will expose his followers. One informs the Tremere and Lydia Cal that her mentor Jasper Knowles is dead and that her funding is cut off because her facility's contracts with mundane biomedical research firms threatens the Masquerade. One tells the Ventru Ellen Ollie Necrona that the Second Inquisition is coming for her little prison buffet down at the border, not downtown. Sentences. Wherever you go, that people will use you or destroy you to escape what's coming. It's all happening because of Jasper's experiments. You know what? I'm gonna stick by Leto. He's a charming Gangrel and I'm going with the non-existent romantic route. I already know that, and you only know it because you were listening in on the Prince. Camarilla are so sloppy I could have learned what I know from 100 sources. Always sloppy, and that puts you and me in danger, especially you, Babylon, that's all. I won't even ask you to work against Prince Leto or the Camarilla, just watch for the SI. But first let me demonstrate how disposable you are to the Prince. Think back to what I taught you. Where is the best place to begin, Babylon? The walls, Leto's thralls, his pet bird Riga? Not a damn test! Julian, you still love these, but your relationship with the Camarilla and its traditions is cool at best. Julian always has a knack for spotting spies. He watches you look around your little garage. Hey. I'm not playing your games, Julian. I'm pretty sure that I am under observation. I mean, I am under somebody's thumb and I just arrived. That makes perfect sense. But I'm being serious, Babylon, Julian says. You're going to be squeezed between Prince Leto and the Second Inquisition soon. I just thought I'd let you know. Got his phone, checks the time, frowns a little. You're going to need better security than this if you stay here, he says. What are you doing? What are you going to rig up? Cameras, poison gas, like we used to in Fort Worth? Maybe laser tripwires. Despite the late hour, it takes a while to get Julian off the subject of security. Finally, he drops his voice and says, you need to be ready for the SI, Babylon. Anyway, I've been thinking about Alia. Ah! apparently we diablerized somebody. Let's not speak of those we lost. Still remember the incredible perverse sense of power when I drank Alia's ancient blood, though I won't give Juliet the pleasure of admitting it. Glad you understand what power looks like, Babylon. When I was young, I thought knowledge was power. My embrace taught me that power is power! And fun is fun. I think that the Diablerie Hylia taught you the same thing. It's true, you can still feel Isla's stolen strength. Sometimes, especially when the hunger is upon you, you can still hear her thoughts screaming through your withered veins. It's almost sunrise, Julian says, checking his phone again. Thank God. I'm late for prayer. He slips a business card out of his glitch hoodie and says, my usurper contract dead. My old Denver company, 2100X, is on hiatus, but I'm still thinking about the future. 22nd century. Think about that, Babylon. It's the sort of blank spot in our imagination. In human imagination, too. We talked about the 21st century as kids. We can still, in a way, imagine this far future, but what's coming? What's going to be like in 80 or 100 years from now? Because I plan to be there and I want your help. Getting the impression the Gangrel wants you. Maybe Prince Leto just wants you as patsy in case the Second Inquisition hits him like the fist of God. He hasn't mistreated you yet, and you know that kindred of Camarilla do not serve two masters. Okay, I like pretending to be interested while making it clear to anyone still listening, like Leto, that I'm not. There we go. Also, I like how he's like, imagine the 22nd century. And Berta's mortal ass sitting right here, so like, yeah! I would like to get through the 2021 first. Our new normal has turned really weird! My new normal has turned really weird, and you over there, you're looking at the 22nd century. I've survived that long. It's like 2020s has so far been 1900s, but on drugs and speedrun. We're speedrunning 1900s, which can't mean good things. If Prince Leto is actually hearing this conversation, you're probably already dead, but there are other stranger ways of knowing possessed by the kindred, and some of them allow for ambiguity. Hint to Julian that you're interested, and he jumps on your hesitant enthusiasm. With your help, he quickly grows convinced that you'll be thrilled to help him in whatever mad scheme he's concocted this time. Maybe you're willing to help him, you haven't decided yet. What matters is that you don't actually make any kind of formal commitment. You just let Julian believe you have. Still haven't decided on the details, Julian says, but I'll be in touch. Figure out where we're going first, and I'll try to help. Hands your card with information on how to reach him, the model where he's staying, and the location of the drop box. There's a little glyph with a knife doodled on the card. A Karam pit, he says. I'm not exactly a regular member of Clan Banu Hakim, so that's what I'm using instead of the old 2100 logo to mark my holdings. No name yet, just a mark. Look for it, Babylon. He opens the door to your little office room, scans the shadows, and disappears down the garage. No evident hurry, despite the proximity of sunrise, the metal door swings shut. You let shock of Julian Sim's return fade, then check your knockoff Panerai as you take it off. It's 6:20 AM, so 10 minutes before sunrise, you secure the door, drop the deadbolt, and strip off out of your leather jacket. I thought all the clothes. You just let's be butt naked. Don't even have time for a shower, so you just unroll the sleeping bag and make sure your phone is charging. I mean, you can go to sleep in the shower, it's not gonna kill you. You dream of flying high over the Alps at night, the roar of a single-seater engine in your ears, a silk scarf wrapped around your throat to keep off the cold, though you're already colder than anything else in the skies. Your dream shifts to a huge moon over the city you know so well that no name comes to mind, all turquoise domes and tall towers. black against the midnight sky, and then the same city except it is only a village, low mud huts, donkeys, children laughing. It's morning, the sun feels hot against your back and your bare lips. No dreams, memories, and one last memory, one that you didn't know was one that you know isn't yours. You remember forcing your eyes open after years of darkness and looking up at two eager fledglings. One from your own clan, one clan Gangrel. You remember watching Frozen as the Gangrel's fangs slide out. You open your eyes for real, check your phone. It's 5:49 p.m. sunset. Alia is sleeping again. Your fangs are protruding. Take off your hat until they go away. So you keep remembering the coating of dust on the elder's throat as you sink your teeth into her. Or scraping the last of the filth out from under your fingernails and you decide where you're going. You don't want to keep Prince Leto waiting and you make the decision. Your first will be... You know what? I don't know. Because this is where we're gonna end for now. Yeah, or at least our hunger's low. Willpower's okay. Apparently I'm injured. That's not good. Our stats are pretty high. And we do have some skills. But minimal disciplines. What about... We have no swing. No swing for convictions either way. Okay. Camarilla relationship poor. Julian relationship also poor. Second Inquisition's kinda hostile. Okay. Okay. But anyways, this is where we're gonna stop for the night. Next time when we continue, we're gonna be delivering packages, I suppose. Doesn't sound that bad. Still gonna hit that Gangrel ass. Pretty sure that Gangrel ass won't hit me back, but you win some, you lose some. It doesn't hurt to be flirty. So thank you for all that dropped by to watch me play, and thank you for all that are watching this on YouTube, and see you the next time. Toodaloo.